special, unique. There's only one you, and God has never ever created a nobody, because He has deposited something inside of you that is different, that is unique, that is all yours. In House of Praise, you find expression to display that uniqueness, that special thing that God has deposited in you. This is a place where you display your talent. This is a place where you display your expertise, and you express yourself in service and worship and praise to God our Father. House of Praise is a place of deliverance, of salvation, and cleansing.
Good day, everyone. You're welcome to day 2 of the program tagged What You Won't Learn in Business School. And this program is brought to you by Church of God Mission House of Praise International, Lekki, Lagos, Nigeria. I'd like to welcome you all and say thank you very much for tuning in. If you were with us yesterday, you would agree that we had a very engaging and enlightening session, and today promises to be much more stimulating. And before we go on, we would like to start with an opening prayer, and I would like to call on Mr. Papi Mothibi to give us the opening prayer. Mr. Papi, thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll all just bow our heads. Father God, we thank you, Father, for this beautiful day, my Father. That, Father, we know that this opportunity does not come by our light, but it's by your grace, oh Father. That, Father, whatever is going to happen here, my Father, let it be a blessing. Let it be a blessing to everyone who is watching, oh Father, that whatever impartation that is going to be happening here today, my Father, let it be the growth to all your people, oh Lord. That, Father, whatever we share today, let it be guided by your Spirit, my Father. That whatever we come out of our mouth, my Father, it is not coming out of our heads or our intellectual, my Father. Let it be guided by your Spirit, O Lord. Father, we thank you, we bless your name, and we glorify you, O Lord. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Papi was one of our speakers yesterday, and we learned a lot from him. We learned about relationships. Relationships is really is what binds everything together in business. Thank you very much, sir. And so yesterday we had a double dose of humility and relationships. We also had Mr. Olumide who spoke with us about the right attitude. The right attitude being humility, and we learned that your attitude determines your altitude or how far you progress in business. We also learned that you need to take feedbacks well. You need to recognize your blind spots. And we learned that regardless of the fact that you want to start a business, you have to get an academic qualification. Now that was day 1. Day 2, we have an all-female panel today, and I believe that the ladies are going to take it a step further. So we'll be talking about saying no is a virtue. We'll be talking about civility in tough times and a lot of other things that you will typically not find in the textbooks, but you have to learn from experience. So stay tuned, do not change that dial, because you will definitely not regret this time. It's going to be a wise investment of your time. So I'll go straight up to introduce our speakers for today. And first amongst them is the elegant Dr. Louisa Akaiso, joining us all the way from the United States of America. Dr. Louisa is a master civility trainer, women development advocate, and author of several books. She's also a leadership coach and an executive director with the John Maxwell Leadership Institute. She's the recipient of the World Civility Day Change Nation African Woman of the Year 2020 and the founder of the Civility of the Girl Child Day Initiative. Dr. Louisa, you're welcome to this program. The second speaker for today is the unassuming powerhouse. That is Daine-Monique Adjanknhoun. Daine is a political image consultant and campaign strategist. She's the founder of Global Image Management Creation. She's a campaign strategist. She's also the author of several articles which have appeared in the Washington Post, the Wall Street Journal, China Day, and the New York Times. Daine, you're welcome. We're grateful for your time today. And finally, we have the etiquette icon herself, the lady known as MSI, Reverend Mrs. Mavi Isibo. Mrs. Isibo has over 20 years of experience building professionals, and she has built a brand as a brand for etiquette. That's why she's called the etiquette icon. She's into personality development. She's done a lot of work in the soft skills training industry in Nigeria, and she's the founder of Poise Nigeria, as well as the executive vice chairman of Poise. She's passionate about women advocacy, and she's also the founder of the popular Broken But Not Shattered Emotional Clinic on Facebook. Reverend Mavi, you're welcome to the program. Thank you very much for joining us. And she's also the convener of this program. Thank you for bringing together great minds to teach us from their experience. Thank you very much, Ma. So I'll hand over now to Dr. Louisa to set the ball rolling today. Dr. Louisa will be talking to us about civility in tough times. Civility in tough times. Please make sure you join the conversation by posting your comments on Facebook, on YouTube, whatever platform you're watching on. Please post your comments, post questions, and at the end of the day, we would have a panel session where questions will be taken. Dr. Louisa, thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I am so honored and so excited to be here this afternoon. Thank you, Christabel. Thank you, Reverend Mavi Isibo, MSI. Thank you, the House of Praise. Thank you to all of the speakers that were here before me yesterday, and for those that are here today. And thank you to our audience. Some of us are watching from the House of Praise page, and I have a watch party on my page. I want to welcome everyone to this session, and just thank you for making out time on a Saturday afternoon, because I'm joining from Virginia to be here. So we're just going to kick this and get things started. Christabel, can we go?
Yes, please, go ahead.
Perfect, good, thank you. All right, so Reverend Mavis had asked that I speak on the topic of maintaining civility in tough times. But then I believe that it is important that I do a brief introduction to this beautiful concept of civility, as civility is still extremely foreign. Some might argue that civility is a lost art, and I will not dispute that. But the good news is I have come today with good tidings. You know, this is the church, so we only come with good tidings to the church. Even in the midst of all the pain, uncertainties, hatred, discrimination, racism, abuse, killings, incivility in political discourse, and so forth. We can go on and on. Civility, steroids, is all that we need right now to stay in touch with humanity. So can we go to the next slide? So let's talk about the concept of civility. Perfect. What is civility? Most of you might be asking. Civility is focused on positive people's treatment. You need to apologize earnestly if you have to. Civility is a lifestyle of responsibility, kindness, care, concern, and this will overflow into your business, because we're speaking to business owners today. Civility has to become a lifestyle. So you cannot be civil on Monday and not be civil on Friday. We are what we repeatedly do. So you want to begin to build a lifestyle and a habit of civility. Now, to make things a lot easier, I'm going to share a definition, and that's my own personal definition of civility. I think this is going to help us tie things together. That civility is an attitude of benevolence, an instinct towards kindness, a preference for courtesy, and most importantly, acknowledgement that everyone else, and I repeat, everyone else is as important as we are. Combined, all these attributes enables us to influence change, to lead with humanness and compassion. Now, a lot of people might have lost the word compassion. We really do not talk about compassion and empathy, but I'm trying to bring you back home. So let's have a look at some of the research before we continue. Next slide, please. Can we go to the next slide, Christabel? Perfect. So the research data is really disturbing. because post-disaster era kind of shows that it would lead to a dark season where recession, unemployment, pain, and incivility becomes the rule of the day. Now, 75% of people expected to experience rudeness or incivility 2.4 times a day. I thought that was really concerning. Can we go to the next slide? And I want you to know that an organization that embraces a culture of civility will experience 4 times more increase in their employee engagement, higher productivity, 30% more revenue than their competitors. So civility is really a mindset. Civility mindset is a mental muscle that cannot be taught, yet it can be developed. So look at it as going to the gym. It requires to be exercised daily in order to strengthen and expand it. Can we go to the next slide, please? Yes. So let's look at the difference between civility, manners, and etiquette. Civility is the tree, manners are the shadows. But etiquette is a customary code of polite behavior in society or among members of a particular profession or a group. So in other words, etiquettes really are the codes of conduct. So that's the difference. So let me give you a great example that's going to help us. You know, I did my first degree in a university in Lagos. And of course, I love Lagosians. I love Yoruba language. So guys, if you're a Yoruba and you're in the house, I love you so much. But the example has got to do with the Yoruba culture. Now, the Yorubas have got an extremely beautiful culture that when they're trying to talk to someone who is older than they are, you find that they have to bow their heads, you know, good morning, a kabo, a kare, and different kinds of a kabos and a kares and different, you know, if they have to talk to someone who is older than them. Now that's etiquette because those are rules, or you could even refer to them as culture that has been passed on from generation to generation. And so when a child does that or observes that, the child is referred to have good manners. Now, civility shows you the why. Because something that I experienced when we're in school was that sometimes you have the students go on their knees or give a bow to the lecturer or the instructor, and right off when they turn their back, they give them a curse sign. Okay, so civility teaches you the why. Why do you have to respect that person? Why do you have to be kind to them? It's not just about the rules. It's not about saying sorry. I can ask you to say sorry to somebody, but you can go ahead doing the wrong stuff and believe that you have to just say sorry and walk away with everything you've done. But with civility, you're going to understand why it is important for you to say sorry. You're going to think about human kindness, being good to people because they deserve it, being good to people because they are human, sharing love because they are human. So civility touches the heart. And this is why I always say, and MSI is going to have to forgive me for this, but civility is a higher level. It's more advanced than etiquette because civility takes care of the why and the how. So for us to be civility minded, we have to be able to experience a mind shift. Like I said, civility mindset requires a lifestyle change. So when one is exposed to civility, it puts a demand on you to think and behave differently. It puts a responsibility on you to leave everyone with an impression of increase, better than you met them. Civility mindset enables a business owner, for example, to embrace servanthood. You're ready to work with your clients, even after hours. Be more people-oriented. You begin to walk away from meanness to we-ness. It's not all about you. So civility requires you to stretch out of your comfort zone. You begin to think from a place of abundance. How can we impact the lives of those that we come around? How can we offer more than normal to our clients without expecting anything in return? So civility, of course, It's not so easy because it requires a mental shift. Next slide, please. Can we go to the slide just before? Just back up a little bit. The next one. Thank you. So we talked about it being a mental muscle. It's not something that can be taught, and there's an error there, but it can be developed. It's like going to the gym and you're working out. So you have to do this every day for it to become a lifestyle. Now, civility is not just for a special group of people, it's for all of us. We need to understand the basic principle that as Christians, God made us in his own image. We are expected to be Christ-like and incarnate of him. God never practiced hatred. He never practiced violence. He never practiced discrimination, racial wars, or any form of abuse. He treated us as one. Civility engenders humility, philanthropy, love, kindness, an act of respect. So with a civility mindset, you will not have to struggle to treat everyone like yourself, because you will understand that every life or person is of equal value. And so you do not have to, under any circumstance, to treat them less than they deserve. Civility costs nothing, but it buys everything. It transcends in the benefits that we derive from abiding by these simple codes of conduct. When you treat people well, 99% of the time, they're going to try to return that back to you. So some people believe that civility can be taught in the schools through manners, in the schools as an etiquette course or behavioral advancement programs and all of that. But I believe that civility being taught in the school kind of seems like it's being left in a box. I belong to the school of thought that it is time that we begin to create more awareness on the practicality of civility. So, Reverend Mary, permit me to title this session Civility Out of the Box, because confining the concept of civility in the classroom only leaves civility in closed box. It waters down the benefits and the effects of its absence. Like we all know, the absence of civility is increasingly causing enormous harm in the world today, in our health, because incivility has reached its crisis state. Like I showed you through the data that we looked at. When people are walking around every single day and expecting someone to be rude to them, I think that's really concerning. So let's take this back home, which is the pandemic period. So during this pandemic, I know that it has become a lot more easier for people to be rude and treat others unfairly, without kindness, without compassion. People really do not care. But I want you to understand that everyone has been affected or continues to be affected by the pandemic. There is no one person that has the blueprint to escape or kind of like a safe haven or a space to run to. We're in this together. So the tendency of you feeling angered and rude when you're under pressure to deliver results, or when you're under pressure to make ends meet, when you've lost a loved one, when you've lost a job during this COVID, increases by the day. But then you can see that all of this is reflected in the numbers. If you're listening to the news, if you're watching the media, you would see that there's so much of an increase in abuse, depression, mental health cases. And all of this are results of intense stress and uncertainties. So I really get it that, it's so difficult for us to, communicate around this time. We are also tense. We are also pained. I get it. I understand how hard it is for everyone. But Reverend Mavis invited me here to speak to the business owners. So can all the business owners in the house comment in the box below and just say, yes, I am an entrepreneur, because it's about to get really hot in here. If you're a business owner, if you're a leader, if you're a professional, just come into the box. And we have a lot of people on my page, so you might not see those comments, but come in and say, I am a business owner. I am a leader. I am an entrepreneur. Give us some hearts, give us some thumbs up, celebrate everyone who is here. Now, the moment of truth is here right now. House of Praise, like I told you, is about to get hot. I'm sorry, I was trying to look really pretty, but I cannot help myself, because it does not matter what the rest of the world might be behaving or reacting to. It does not matter what is happening in the world, the pandemic, the stresses. You might not have control over the pandemic, but you have control over how you can react to the pandemic. As successful business owners, or those who are aspiring to succeed post-COVID, you need to manage to keep your head above the water. I understand that recession is staring at us in the face. You need to manage to keep your head above the water, even with your competitors. You need to embrace the civility mindset. Your clients and employees expect to be treated with respect. They expect to be treated with consideration. They expect to be treated with compassion, no matter what is happening in the world. We have looked at the numbers in the research, and of course we know things might not look too nice in the next couple of months. But what do? Civility is the only thing that we need right now to heal the world of all of these uncertainties. So as a business owner, ask yourself, how do I survive in this season? Have you treated your clients fairly? Have you sent out thank you notes or even a text to appreciate your clients or your team or anyone who has been good to you lately? Or have you always thought that you were the only entrepreneur that was created on planet Earth? Well, I hear people make interesting comments. Like, I know she's going to be back after they've treated a bad client, a client in such a terrible way. They feel like the client is going to come back. I have the best product. Well, not now, ma'am. Not now. Not now. Not now, sir. If that's how you used to think, you need a mental shift. The greatest gift that the pandemic has given to us is the gift of attention. Everything paused. Literally, the world paused. Your clients have had a chance to think and breathe and take their time to access products and services in order to spend wisely. So guess what? COVID-19 has offered us a flat playing field. I am here in Virginia and I'm screaming, and you can hear me in Nigeria. You can be in Nigeria talking and someone can respond in Malaysia. Your clients do not have to buy from you. They can get the products from China. Brand loyalty is now a thing, whether you like it or not. For your clients to stay with you, you have to earn it. If you've ever thought that you are the only business that offers a particular product or service in your small town or in your state, well, newsflash, we have 4 billion people on the internet today. So chances are that so many other people are doing this at a more affordable rate. So if you haven't utilized or leveraged the attention of your clients, the marketplace globally, to be able to sell your value proposition with civilized service in order to thrive, then you are your greatest limitation. I was going to say you're your greatest demon. You are. You are your greatest limitation. So this is why we've brought the message of civility for you, because this is what you need to plug in and embrace as part of your services in order for you to keep your clients. Next slide. So as business owners, we all understand the ROI, return on investment. The return on investment, and there's a mistake there, is really the financial gain an investor sees on an investment into a company What is in it for me? That's always the question. People are always asking, what's in it for me? But today we're going to turn it around and call it return of civility. Next slide. Because you're asking, Louisa, why do I have to be civility minded? Well, there's a return on civility, and that's what I'm going to share with you. Can we go to the next slide, please? The power of your ROC. ROC is your return on civility. Thank you. Your return on civility helps entrepreneurs to build trust, credibility, integrity, and believability factor. No one will patronize you if you do not, or if they do not believe in you. No one is going to patronize you. People have to believe in you. I believe that every business owner or entrepreneur or professional who is on this session wants to have influence, wants to have impact, wants to have income. But it is so crucial that we build a respectful culture of civility within our business, that we embrace a civilized service, because impact is only going to come from positive people's treatment. You cannot stay disconnected from your clients or the people that you serve or intend to serve. You are your business. People are connected to your business first before they are connected to your products. People will buy the experience and the solution. They don't really care about what you're selling, but the experience and the solution is what is important to them. Next slide. So the return on civility is so important, but let's talk about the rewards that comes with the ROC, because business people are always thinking about, when I invest money, what do I get back? The first thing you're going to get back is returning clients. An increase in your ROC simply means an increase in your believability, trust, and credibility factor. This is the same thing as money in the bank. Civility always reminds us to show kindness and appreciation to our clients. So of course you gain more clients because you gain clients' loyalty. They refer more clients to you. I'm going to give you an example. So let's look at a premium brand like Apple. That is so expensive. Everyone complains Apple is expensive, but guess what? When you visit the Apple store, the customer service is out of this world. They are so nice to you. They offer you a bottle of water. Everyone is so good to you. The follow-up is amazing. So it keeps you coming back. Even though you're complaining that it's expensive, you find that you keep buying. And you know what? Apple continues to introduce a new handset maybe in a couple of months, and we keep buying. And we're complaining, but we keep buying, and you keep telling other people about them. That's because of your experience and the solution that you get from working with Apple. The second one is responsibility. When you embrace civility, you are able to respond physically, emotionally, and spiritually to stress and uncertainties without venom. You're able to think and be productive. Your ability to reason out possible solutions when you're presented with problems. You're not all panicked. You're not all troubled and react without thinking. Some of you might call it emotional intelligence, but I call it responsibility. The next one is respect. And I want you to know that respect is so important, apart from the fact that it's one of the 3 R's of civility, which is respect, responsibility, and restraint. But respect doesn't just show up in you just being rude. My question is going to be, how many times have you cursed out on other people, your clients? You're angry at them. You exchange words with them. How many times have you had to use the swear words, even on social media or in person? How often have you helped your clients after hours or gone the extra mile, and you had this nagging client who is so troubled about what they got from you and they think it's not working, they're asking you so many questions, and the next thing is you begin to freak out. You're not ready to go the extra mile. That's lack of respect. How many times have you spoken kindly to your teammates, to your colleagues, to the people around you, to those in church? Respect is so important. The next one is rippling effect. Civility, and of course incivility as well, has rippling effect. Civility can be infectious. As entrepreneurs, we must be ever mindful of our words, our actions, and how it impacts other people. So let's have a look at COVID-19, for example. The same way that COVID-19 can be easily transmitted without you being aware of who is infected, civility can be the same. You do not know how your kind of thoughtfulness, words or actions can impact people, and how these messages and words can go downstream. So it's better that you're intentional to infect people with kindness, humility, and respect. The next one is reposition. When you embrace civility, you are able to reposition, re-engineer your brand during this pandemic. And this will help you to utilize the opportunities that are available. Your brand is now able to attract new clients, and you're able to provide solutions for their needs. Civility is so important. And the final one is relationship building. I'm not going to say so much about that because I know that the speaker yesterday had really spent a huge amount of time on it. But civility enhances healthy relationships. With all that is happening, with all the abuse and all the uncertainties, it's quite easy for us to begin to think in such a selfish way while neglecting the needs of other people. So I'm going to borrow from the words of Maya Angelou. And she says, people are not interested in what you say, but in how you make them feel. And so let me just kind of rephrase that for our business owners. People are not interested in your product and your information that you provide for them, but in the solution that is wrapped up nicely in an impeccable experience. You're able to have a strong connect with people and manage your relationships when you embrace civility. So pulling from the words of Mr. Papi yesterday, he talked about how he had built a successful relationship with Reverend Murphy for over the years. And look at where this has brought them. So some of you might be saying, you know what, Louisa, we are part of the house of praise. We don't do anything that's not in the Bible. Okay, civility is in the Bible. Philippians 2, 3-4. Colossians 3, 12-14. Titus 3, 1-2. Luke 6 and verse 31. And you can read that back, but we're going to read one of them. So let's go to the next slide. So let's look at Titus 3, 1-2. Put them in mind to be subject to principalities, powers, to obey magistrates, to be ready to every good work, to speak evil of no man, to be no brawlers, but gentle, showing all meekness unto all men. So can you see that civility is in the Bible? Because Jesus was the first civilized leader. The Bible refers to him as always doing good wherever he went. He never fought with nobody. So whether your blueprint is the Bible, well, civility is in the Bible. So let me end this really by borrowing from the words of Wayne Wallace. And he says that whatever idea we focus our conscious mind long enough, it creates a spot in our subconscious. This can either alter our paradigm to produce positive or negative results. And that's from Wayne Wallace. That is someone that I really honor a lot. So what happens is when you embrace civility, or when you are exposed to civility, it serves as a mental detox, because civility is a greater good. When we focus on it long enough, it changes and begins to reprogram any toxic paradigm that may have existed within you for so long. And when that happens, it shows up in your results, your relationships, and of course your numbers. Because I know that as entrepreneurs, we're so concerned about numbers. So as kingdom entrepreneurs, we need to be Christ-like even in our business. I remember someone who once was so harsh to her client, who was also her church member. And she said, my business does not belong to the church. The church does not pay my bills. Well, your relationship in and out of the church, the marketplace, your home must be consistent. Jesus Christ was the first civilized leader, like I told you. So some of us, might scoff at yet another conversation about civility. And let's go to the next slide, please. Just like some of us are not so interested in keeping to the practices and regulations of responding to COVID-19, we refuse to wear the mask and maintain social distance. We really do not care. But let me tell you that civility is essential to our survival. We don't have to wait for another pandemic to remind us that we have to be united together, that we have to care for each other. That is not only about you. You must be able to stretch out of your comfort zone. You must be able to check on your neighbor. You must be able to stretch out and offer some help to the less privileged, to the older ones. Who are you taking care of apart from yourself? Your selfish self. Everything that you have is for you. Have you not seen how much people are dying during pandemic? Yes. As kingdom entrepreneurs, I know you're so concerned about paying tithes. That's okay. But you can also invest in the lives of those around you. Civility steroids is all you need to stay in touch with humanity. But this will not only just show up in your homes. We have to be intentional about treating each other with respect, courtesy, and consideration. So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions this afternoon. Are you ready to make the changes today? Are you ready to embrace civility and offer a civilized service to your clients? Are you ready to build a culture of civility in your home, your business, and your church today? I know that the pandemic has been extremely bumpy, but a call for civility and civil conduct will help us flatten this curve. What can you do today, beginning from now, even in your current crisis? What lessons have you learned right now that is going to help you to begin to build a civil, safe, and healthy community now and for the future? Civility is what we need right now to heal the world of all the uncertainties during and post-pandemic. Next slide. Civility is not a matter of choice. We have to do it right now. If you're still struggling with this concept, if you think that it was too short of a time, we have a lot of resources. I have books that you can look out for, even on Amazon. There are tons of books that can help you as a good manual to guide you. So civility, it's really the solution, but we have to be intentional. We have to be intentional. I expect every one of us to say, yes, Louisa, I'm ready to be intentional. I'm ready to make the changes. I'm ready to treat my clients as humans and not as objects. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Dr. Louisa. That was really insightful. And the question again to you is, are you ready? Are you ready to make that change? Believe me, if all I need to do is to be civil to my clients and to my employees to earn 30% more revenue than my competitors, then it's actually worth the effort. It's really worth it. So thank you very much. Please join the conversation. Send in your questions and your comments on our platforms, and we will take the questions afterwards. We'll take a 1-minute break right now, and I'll call up the next speaker after that. Thank you.
Everyone is created special, unique. There's only one you, and God has never ever created a nobody, because He has deposited something inside of you that is different, that is unique, that is all yours. In House of Praise, you find expression to display that uniqueness, that special thing that God has deposited in you. This is a place where you display your talent. This is a place where you display your expertise, and you express yourself in service and worship and praise to God our Father. House of Praise is a place of deliverance, of salvation, and cleansing.
Welcome back. Thank you again for staying tuned to this program, What You Won't Learn in Business School. We just heard from Dr. Louisa Akaiso on civility out of the box. And taking it further is Daine-Monique, who's going to be talking to us about learning from your mistakes. So yesterday we talked about learning from other people's experiences, but today we want to see how you can actually learn from your own mistake and turn them into something positive for your business and for yourself. You're welcome, Diane.
Well, thank you. Good evening. I trust you are all well this evening and importantly safe. My name is Daine-Monique Adjanknhoun. I'm the founder of Global Image Management and Creation at International Academy of Image Management and Strategy. It's a pleasure for me to come before you this evening to speak about this topic, learning from your mistake. Before we get started, I would like to thank Mavi Isibo, Chris Bell, Papi, and Louisa Akaiso to be part of such an esteemed organization and share this time with you. I trust you will find what I say this evening of great value and of inspiration. Chris Bell, I don't know if because I'm French speaking, the topic learning from our mistake, I developed it based on my own experience, but experience that I have also from other people. Is not only me. So the topic of my presentation, we all know that there is so much to say about learning from our experience. It's not going to be only my experience, it's going to be also other business people experience that I'm going to share with you. I choose to draw attention on 7 points, which I personally experience and which other people also experience. So the first point is few people succeed the first time. We all make the mistake of thinking that we are going to succeed as soon as we start our activity as an entrepreneur, but we discover very early that the reality is quite different. It quite the opposite in the majority of cases. This can be discouraging because days go by, weeks go by, months go by, and even years, and we lose the enthusiasm of the beginning. It happened to me, it happened to many other entrepreneurs. There is no money coming in, but the bill keep piling up. Some are quite discouraged, ready to drop everything. I was not ready to drop everything, but I know people around me who were ready to drop everything. They will be precisely wrong. Wrong because an entrepreneur has to be mentally strong, tenacious, determined, constant, and consistent. Let me give you a brilliant example of perseverance. We all know who is Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, an online bookstore. He's one of the founding father of e-commerce, online sale. He is currently the richest man in the world. He built up his world's largest fortune. Actually, Bezos set up his business in 1994 and started really in 1996. At the beginning, his business was not that successful. His company, Amazon, was far from being profitable, and it took him 9 years or more, according to some sources, to make a profit. And even during this tough period, he has not stopped investing in what he believed has a future, online sales. With his perseverance, we all know what Amazon has become. In less than 26 years, Jeff Bezos has had an incredible success story that even the COVID-19 crisis could not stop. Let me share with you how much his company is making during this unprecedented time we are all going through amid this COVID crisis. Amazon reached its highest profit ever. It sold 40% more than the year before. enabled profit to double. Last semester, the COVID-19 pandemic pushed Amazon profit to $5.2 billion compared to the $2.6 billion it made the same period in year 2019. So just to show you the importance of being constant and consistent and stick on our vision. I will give you another example. This example is to show you again that perseverance always pay off, whatever the field. Let's take an example in politics, because I'm in politics. I'm a political consultant. There are several candidates who run for president and was successful after many attempts. Let me give you the example of two men. The first one will be a former president of Senegal. His name is Maître Abdoulaye Wade. The former president of the Republic of Senegal ran for election more than 4 times before becoming the president of the Republic of Senegal. He was the candidate in the presidential election the first time in 1978 before becoming president of Senegal on April the 1st, 2000. So you see, 22 years later, officially, Abdoulaye Wade became the president of Senegal. There is not another example. The same scenario happened in France with one of the former presidents of French Republic. His name is François Mitterrand. François Mitterrand, who ran the first time in 1965 and he ran the first time in 1965 and finally elected in 1981. So I just want to take a few moments to look back on the path taken by all those people. Very few people indeed succeed the first time in any field. The road will be full of pitfalls. So my advice will be, however, we should never give up. We must take the failures or the waiting time to the success to improve our product, our service, or our strategy. We have to stay committed to our vision. And as Jeff Bezos say, be stubborn on your vision, but flexible on the detail. So my other advice will be, even if in our daily life, we are not endowed with this quality, I mean, perseverance, patience, consistent, we must learn to be, because as entrepreneurs, because the path will be always full of pitfall. So we should learn how to resist and hold on in the face of difficulty. And as Sir Winston Churchill said, success is go from failure to failure without losing your enthusiasm. So point two is, what are your priorities? Slide, please. What are your priorities? How many times I've seen and continue to see entrepreneurs invest in things that are not necessary for the growing of their business? How many times we see entrepreneurs invest in very expensive furniture or rent location or shop in prestigious neighborhood? When you are not in the luxury industry, where the visual image prevails and credibility is based on the element mentioned above, I can understand when you are in luxury industry to invest in this kind of thing. But when you are in the profession where the customer don't pay attention on this detail, it's not that important to invest in expensive furniture or furniture designed by famous designers such like the French designer Philippe Starck, etc. A computer, when you have a computer, you have a computer company. I think that you have more interest in investing in research and development than in paying expensive rent in expensive areas or posh areas such as in France, Avenue Montaigne, in New York, Fifth Avenue, or in Benin, where I am, in the Cocotier, or in VI in Lagos, or Runda in Nairobi. You don't need none of these when you are in this kind of field. So let me give you an example. I really like this example because I think that most of us, except Papi, we are ladies. So I'm sure that all of you heard about Elena Rubinstein. Elena Rubinstein Cosmetic. Elena Rubinstein she's the inventor of a waterproof mascara, who started her business by setting up her laboratory in a kitchen. Then, considering her clients, her customers, her clientele, she settled in an elegant district of Melbourne in Australia, but she didn't buy very luxurious furniture. She preferred at this stage of her activity to invest more in research and development, which make her the pioneer in science, in a sense related to beauty care. We all know that what Elena Rubinstein brand stands for. The lesson behind this is that as entrepreneurs, we need to know where are our priorities at the beginning of our business. We should not waste money on our financial resources on things that are random for a start, because success often takes time. During this waiting for success, we'll have to know how to invest smartly, and during this time, we need to know what is essential for the growing of our business. Know that when your products are good quality, you will be found no matter where you are. Even if you are not in the posh district, or in VI, or in Champs-Élysées, or Fifth Avenue, people will find you when your products are of good quality. The number 3.3, business is based on relationships. We all make this mistake. You can't be successful by your own. From the Genesis, the story of creation of mankind, of Adam and Eve, tell us a lot about the interdependence between human beings. If we could live alone, God would have just created Adam, not Eve. So let's come back to the context of business. We need order to succeed, because a sale is between a seller and a buyer. We sell a product and a service to a customer, and we have to get a customer wherever they are. So when we start an activity, we must offer our products or service just talk about it to them to people around us, our private circle, our professional circle, our other networks that we will have developed. There is no better advertising than word of mouth. Don't worry. People are more likely to use the service of someone they know or remember than a company they don't know. So the ball is in your court, in our court, So be daring, be courageous, less shy, go out to meet stranger. You never know. Maybe this stranger is your potential partner, your potential in business. So you never know. So don't worry. You don't have nothing to lose. You don't have anything to lose. Quite the contrary. I'll give you another example. Everybody know who is the Chanel. Chanel is the famous French brand. So the person behind Chanel is Gabrielle Chanel, the founder of this famous luxury brand. Chanel comes from very underprivileged background at the base. She knows how to use her relationship. She knows how to make herself known and develop her activity intended to the upper society. So what I want you to understand is that even if she comes from a poor background, not privileged background, she know how to impose the little black dress that all ladies know to the high society lady. And this same Chanel, she's a creator of an emblematic perfume we all know, number 5 of Chanel, which she had formulated with the famous French perfumer Ernest Beau. So could you imagine? She come from a very poor family, but her target was wealthy people, was high society people, and she used her relationship to get them and to impose her way of thinking to them, her way of interpreting fashion to them. So my golden rule will be, my advice will be, ask for help. There will be always people of goodwill to help you or to help us, or who simply find themselves in us at the same age and will help us learn to be at the right place at the right time. Slide 4, please. Know how to sell. Let me see. Slide 4. No, the next slide, please. No. You have to go back. Could you go back, please? After this slide will be okay. Okay, the next one. The next one, please. Okay, how to know how to sell customer service. We all know US as the best country in terms of customer service. We unfortunately have next to us some countries that care less about it. France has copied a lot from the US in recent years, and we have noticed French brands such as Sephora, which put customer satisfaction as their priority. Customer first, customer is always right. All customers who enter in Sephora Champs-Élysées, a shop located in Paris, leave this shop with a memorable experience. From this example, we all understand why Sephora founder, the French Bernard Arnault, is the third richest man in the world. It's certainly not by chance. So, when the customer is king in the US and becoming king in France, in Africa, and especially in some French-speaking countries, more precisely, the image of company is sometimes tarnished by a total lack of professionalism. Professionalism is illustrated by a very low quality of a customer service. What happens is that when you enter in a shop in some French-speaking countries, the reception is shoddy. You have a shoddy reception. You are usually confronted with some business owner and the employee who ignore you as soon as you enter in their store. No accompaniment. It means employee who's supposed to advise you, they give you impression that you are boarding them. And honestly, sometimes when I enter in some shop, I have that feeling that or fear that they're going to send me out of the shop. Nobody will ask you to discover a new product. So no one proposes you to make you discover the product. On the contrary, they get annoyed when you want to know more about other products. So I notice also sometimes the dressing is not what it should be. So the golden rule is remember that competition in the market is very tough. And even you have a market monopoly, it can only be short-lived until you understand that the customer is your priority. You need a loyal customer base to grow your business. So train your employees on how to behave. You will come out a winner. Point 5. 3.5, yes. School teach us knowledge, instruction, but it's up to us to educate ourselves throughout our life. When business is successful, we tend to stay in our comfort zone with little investment in our education. As a result, as soon as we have one or more competitor offering more innovative products, we are completely destabilized or we simply disappear from the market. The golden rule will be educate yourself by reading review journals, specialized magazine in your feed or in our feed to keep up to date with the latest innovation in our field. Offer ourselves continuing education or expertise training and invest, if possible, in research and development. The next slide, please, point 6. Get used to the reality of the field. Reading and school teaching alone is not enough to succeed. Don't judge the economy of some country with statistics. In some countries, national data and statistics do not necessarily reflect reality. Economic power economic power, which must go on the ground and see how consumption is going. A good SWOT in a very well elaborated business plan will only be relevant and of great use only if we go down to the field to collect information and touch the reality. So what we have to know is we have to know that it's the field that control. I recall we went to during the last campaign. I had a discussion with a candidate. So I was asking him about the strength, the weakness of the field, all of those things, and he gave it to me. But I was not really okay with that. So I have to go to the north of the country to see people, to meet people, and to ask them the reality. So when I went there, I was just devastated to hear that the image that the candidate had on himself, or not the image that he had on himself, what people told him about himself is not real in his own its place. You know, people have a very bad image of him, what is not true, but we work on it. So I definitely think that if I was I hadn't been on the ground, I will never know, and I would set up a very bad strategy for my candidate. The result was good because I collected all those information and work on his image, and we got this strategic part of my country. And this strategic part, it was a part where all candidates in the country want. So we got it. So please know that it's the field that control. We have to go on the field to know what's happening there. So the seventh point is an entrepreneur must be a conductor. An entrepreneur must be a conductor. He must be able to do the work of each absent employee and even of the employee at the bottom of the ladder. We should not make the mistake of staying only in our office, disinterested in what's happening around us. It is by getting involved and understanding all operative procedure that a business leader will control the running of his company. I know so many businessmen who just know about what they have to do. They don't want to know about what's happening around them. And I think that is a big mistake, it's a huge mistake. So this seventh point will conclude my presentation. Once again, thank you for your time. I now challenge you to give yourself some grace from where you are now, especially in these unprecedented times. Thank you again.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much, Diane, for an awesome presentation. Thank you very much. So Diane has both an Anglophone and Francophone audience. That's why the slides were in French, so the French-speaking audience can follow. Thanks again. So a couple of things I noted down: an entrepreneur, a leader must be hands-on. You must be a conductor. You must get fully involved. And we should also remember that very few people succeed at the initial instance, and speaks to one of the things that we learned yesterday, that when you meet a successful person, ask the person about his journey, not necessarily about his success, because there is always a journey to every success. There are mistakes before every success. So it's good to keep that in mind. All right, thank you again for staying with us. To our audience, we have one final speaker before we take the question and answer session. So we'll just go on a 1 minute advert break and we'll bring up the final speaker for today. Stay tuned.
Every person is a real somebody. God never made a nobody.
You were created for a purpose. God's purpose for you is real and it is achievable.
House of Praise is a church with a divine mandate. It's a place of cleansing, deliverance, and salvation.
A church where your gifts, talents, and divine assignment is expressed in service to God.
Remember, every divine deposit multiplies with use.
At CGMI House of Praise, we believe in your dream. We believe your dream is possible. God believes in you.
And so do we.
All right, it's still What You Won't Learn in Business School, brought to you by Church of God Mission House of Praise. Thank you for staying tuned. We have one final speaker for the day, the etiquette icon herself, known as MSI, Reverend Mrs. Mavi Isibo, and she'll be speaking to us about how saying no can be a virtue. So yesterday we talked about, yes, you have to bend backwards for relationships, you have to be humble, you have to have the right attitude, but sometimes you still need to say no. MSI, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. I hope you can all hear me.
Yes, you can.
Can you hear me, Christabel?
Perfectly, yes.
Wonderful. And thank you, Diane. Oh my goodness. I so admire you, Diane, that you can communicate so fluently in English. Men who can, so proud of you. And thank you, Louisa, for that wonderful, wonderful presentation. It was electrifying. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. And today I want to talk on the virtues of saying no. Actually, saying no is a major business strategy, says the Harvard Business Review. However, I want to talk to you from my own personal experience. And but before we go in there, I just want to talk about a little bit about what saying no entails. It entails your being assertive. It entails your ability to show self-confidence and self-assurance. You know, you must be able to say no without apology. All right. Thank you very much indeed. Yesterday, Papi, such an awesome person. It brought back memories, and I just remember that that was one time I had to say no. Also in my business, Poise was like about maybe 7 years old, 5 or 7 years old or thereabout, and yes, it was like about 5 years old, and we were only doing etiquette. We had gone into public speaking and elocution, but I felt like, you don't forget that at that time it was a brand new field and a brand new market. There was no documentation in any place, nothing for you to refer to. There was no report, no research that was done. Nigeria was virgin market, and we didn't have all the internet as much as we had it now. We have it now. So I just knew at that time that we had encompassed mountain for too long and that we needed to move forward. So I latched on to this idea, and I did a concept paper on team building as one of the major issues, especially that whenever we went to organizations and we talked with them, one of the major problems they had then was team building, but they didn't know how to articulate it. And so I recall that I did the paper, and then I went on the internet to start looking for someone who could do this. And then I saw Papi online, so I sent him a mail, and he answered. And once he answered, that was it. Especially I had a friend of mine that introduced him also, and told me that he was a credible source. All right, so I reached out to him online, one phone call and about 2 emails, and he was in Nigeria. But I recall that when I did the concept paper, and I presented it to my team, because I was the visionary, I was the a visualizer, I was the only one who knew what I wanted. They couldn't latch onto it because they felt that we were going outside of our purview. And so at the end of the day, I had to grow after it myself. And the very first place I took my concept to, I didn't even know too much about it. They bought into it, the organization bought into it. From there, I got Papi straight away from that, their boardroom. And Papi, I put him on speaker, and we sealed that deal. I tell you, it was an exciting one. So saying no is for strategic growth. Saying no is for strategic growth. They say no is a strategy. Say no is a strategy. Say no to the wrong kind of clients is also very important. So you must learn to say no to the wrong kind of clients. Clients that will price your goods like tomatoes and pepper. You must learn to say no, because though you may gain quick money, but you will destroy your brand in the market. So you have to learn to say no to those clients that will take you away from your business model, and say, oh, because I also had to say no to some other ideas, especially when when your business is going through major turbulence. And you're not making money, and you're not growing, you're struggling to pay salaries. I was not even paying myself then. It was difficult for me, and everyone could see that I was going through some real difficult and harsh economic crisis in the organization. So they all had ideas. Oh, start management courses, start also, you can even start a secondary school. But that was not what I wanted to do. And management courses, we had gurus, we had consultancies that were gurus in management courses, in business and all of those things. I wanted to create a niche for myself, and that was my vision. So businesses or clients that will take you away from your business model based on your mission, based on your values, and based on your areas of expertise, don't accept such clients, even if they are paying you everything, because it is a one-way street down, from the height you have climbed. Right? And also a one-way street down, away from your vision that you first visualized. And then, of course, when you are another time when you need to say no is when accepting the wrong business saps your time and your energy. When doing that business takes everything that you have. They are not willing to give anything. They're not willing to give an inch, but they want you to put in all, invest everything, and yet you are not getting as much out of it. No, you're making very little profit. That's not the type of business you want to do. It's always better to say no. Okay? And saying yes to the wrong business also is a major issue. Saying yes to the wrong business is not also acceptable. It slowly but surely kills morale in the organization. It kills creativity, it kills focus, and it kills ultimately the vision. So before you know it, you are actually not in the business that you set out to do. And I want to tell you that type of business, if you are not into that type of business and you don't have a vision for it, you don't have enthusiasm for it, it will die a slow death, but it will surely die, because there's no way for you to reinvent yourself. There's no way for you to recreate the business, and you cannot see beyond what was already presented to you. So saying yes to the wrong business is not the answer. Listen to me. Saying no defines you. It defines the type of person you are, the type of leader you are, the type of manager you are, the type of business owner you are, and how much or how best people can ride roughshod over you. Okay? So it defines the contours of your character. It defines the shape of your life. No, if you don't know how to say no, you must learn the virtue. You must learn how to say no in a very polite manner, but firm. Saying no to demands that compromise your values is how you secure hold on other people, on all the values that are not yours. So you must learn to say no to demands that compromise your values. I recall one time in my organization, somebody, I didn't know too much about the technology and everything. We were trying to run a new business and to get some database and everything, and the person, the officer in charge, told me, he said, "Oh, you know what? If you just pay somebody a little bit of money, we can get all this information, all this database, and then we kickstart and jumpstart us into this business." And I said, okay, I didn't understand. Why do we have to pay him money? Why don't we generate? And so he had to really explain to me, and I understood that he was going to pay someone to hack into someone else's database, for us to get all the data and jumpstart our business. I said, no way, So you must learn to say no to demands that compromise your values, no matter how pressured you are. You must learn also to say no and express your disagreement. When it affects your personal integrity. You must learn to say no when it remains, like after removing those things that you have declined. When it is affecting your person. Saying no is a crucial process of shaping the person we become. You must learn to say no, because it defines you. It defines your values. It defines your character, and it defines the type of leader that you are, and whether people can do things and get away with it. So saying no must be defined by your why. You must say no based on your why. On your why. You must say no based on your why. Why are you in business? So if your why is entrenched in your spirit, you know what you want to achieve, you know why you are in business, then it's easier for you to say no to ideas that look interesting and even juicy, but will eventually sink your vision. So many times people are in business for the wrong reasons. If you're in business for money, no, for just the money, let me tell you, you will say yes to everything and you will be open to everything. You will not be able to say no. But that's why most of those businesses that you see collapse, most of those businesses that you see that do not endure are for people who are there for the money. They are just there to put food on the table. You say, I just want to be comfortable. No, in my lifetime, that's what I want. You know, it's for, or they are there for self-aggrandizement. It is, you know, they want to be seen. They want, it is for their own purpose and everything, you know, and they don't care whose ox is God. No, that business may not last long, because the business will definitely die with the owner. But if you are there for legacy, yes, that you are doing your business for legacy, is does not mean that you are not going to look at, no, you're not in business for profit. You're in business for profit. You're in business for money. You're in business for self-aggrandizement. You're in business for to put food on the table and to keep you comfortable in life. But also you are there to, you know, to entrench a value or a vision that will live after you. All right. So saying no must define your why, and your why is driven by vision. Your why is driven by, what did you have in mind? What did you dream about? What did you visualize? You know, why are you in that field? Why are you in that space? And that will direct your focus. It will direct your values, and it will also inform your strategy. So the strategy you craft, you know, the strategy you curate for your vision, you know, will be informed by the reason why you are in that business. I call it the raison d'être. I'm sure that I'm sure Diane will be laughing, because I that's a French word. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Raison d'être. All right, that's it. And then saying no comes from a deep conviction inside of you, or your intuition. No, the intuition, oh my goodness, listen, that intuition is something that nobody can teach you. You have it when you are the dreamer. You have it when you are the visionary. You have it when you are the visualizer. You have it when you are the one that came up with the idea. When you are the ideation well. No, you have that intuition. You intuitively know what you want. You intuitively know how you want to go about it, and you know where to put your finger on the pulse. Okay, so as a visionary, you must have that conviction and that intuition, and so that when different ideas and different suggestions come from different avenues, even your trusted people, you must learn to say no, because it's not falling in line with what you saw. A visionary must first see before you implement. A visionary must first visualize before you implement. You must know what you want to achieve. And until you settle that, no, it will be foolhardy to go into business. I can tell you that. You have to know that from your inside, deep from your inside. And then also another time to say no, that comes from deep intuition and conviction, is when talent is not enough. When it is not enough. Thank you, Papi, for referring us to some of these books. But this is also another book. It's When Talent, I don't know whether it's by Brian Tracy or John Maxwell, but it's one of them. When talent is not enough. It doesn't matter, no matter how tight funds are, no matter how difficult the situation is, you must not succumb to recruiting unskilled labor, especially when you're growing your business. You must not succumb to it. instead, rather, one of the things that I did is that I did not pay myself at all. I was not earning anything. I was paying the people that were working for me. They were earning money that I was paying them, and I was not earning anything. There were days when I went without food. There were days when I couldn't afford, five naira. I don't even know whether anybody spends 5 naira now, or whether there's anything that is worth 5 now. But 5 naira was bigger than me. 5 naira was a major issue, at one time. But I needed to establish myself and consolidate the business. So you must go for both talent and skills. Don't just know, so somebody can say, this one, I just have this talent. This is what I've always wanted to do. Yeah, but what have you done? And don't forget that because we had, there was nowhere, I didn't have any blueprint. There was no beating path for me. There was no, I needed my intuition and deep understanding of what I wanted to do, what I wanted to achieve in order to recruit. Another time you need to learn to say no is when your family and friends are being forced on you. When they say, take your sister now, put your sister, and put your brother, put your whatever. Listen to me. You must learn to say no to people that are difficult to correct, difficult to discipline, and difficult to fire. You must learn to say no. If you know you cannot your own children, please do not recruit them. Look for other, my mentor, Oba Otudeko, I learned from him. All his children, first of all, went and served. They went and worked in different organizations outside of Honeywell. They learned humility, they learned service, they learned how to say yes, sir. Before they now finally went and worked in their father's company. So if you know you have not brought up your children like that, so you must learn to say no to family and friends, just because they are difficult to correct, they are difficult to discipline, and they are difficult to sack. All right? And then you must understand the game of saying no, the psychology of it, because people will want to make you feel like as if you're a bad person, you're inconsiderate, you're a difficult person, and you're not caring. It's okay. You must learn how to say no with gravitas. You must learn how to say no politely, cautiously, but firmly, and say because you know where you're going. It is unavoidable that others will be disappointed by your response. Ensure that disappointment doesn't escalate to insult when you are saying no, and they are saying, sister, you are very wicked, and then they call family meeting on top of be willing to sit down and just express yourself and say, I'm sorry. Remember to walk back, show them your logic, the reason why you're saying no. Remember to let them understand your rationale and everything, and put your foot down firmly. Okay? And then remember to separate your answer to the topic or to the demand from your sentiments about the people that are involved. I still love you. You are still my very good friend. Oh yes, I can give you some pocket money monthly, if it's within my power, my budget, or my ability, my financial ability. I can do that. But I'm sorry, we can't work together. Especially with someone that we argue with you and bring in all the sentiments. You don't want that type of person, in a young budding business. in a fledgling business. You don't want that. You want to be firmly in control of your business, to ensure that you consolidate it and then you start to grow it. When it is fully grown and you are detached from the daily operations and the daily running of the business, and you're not steeped in all of it, then you can bring in family and friends, because if they misbehave, management will handle them. You're not there. So how do you say no? You must first of all mentally say no from the inside. You must refuse from your inside. Mentally, you must say no from the inside before you voice it out, because then it comes out in an assertive manner. You are not smiling when you're saying no, but you're saying it in a very polite manner. Please do not smile when you say no, so that you don't give you don't give a double or an ambiguous answer, or people send a message in an ambiguous non-verbal communication. Okay, so do not smile when you say no. You must say it firmly, all right? But you must say it politely, especially if it's your mother that is asking you for your sister, it's your husband, it's your father, it's your auntie, and all of those things. You must learn to say no. It can even be your best friend, all right? You must still that small silent voice, or that fear that makes you want to say yes, because many people don't like confrontation. Many people feel very uncomfortable when everyone is upset with them. But that's one of the bane of being an entrepreneur. All right, you must still that silent small voice and stand firm. All right, because the people who are not laughing with you now, the people who are upset with now, I can tell you that when you make it, they will become your friend. But when your business collapses, they will laugh at you. So you must make sure that that business works and that business stands and that is profitable, so that all those that were beefing you in the beginning will laugh with you at the end. All right? And then you must move from the vague. So when you're saying no, don't be vague about. Don't use ambiguous words. Oh, I don't, not sure. Let me see. Let me get to the office on Monday. You know you're going to say no. So don't say, let me get to the office on Monday. It's giving hope, and you're postponing the should I say the evil day. You're postponing it. So please be specific. Don't be vague about what you want to say, and remove the intensifiers and the modifiers. I'm very, very, you know that it is not I am sincerely, all those intensifiers and modifiers, take them out of your language when you're saying no, all right? And then, learn to stop apologizing because you're saying no. Say it politely, say it courteously, but please do not over apologize, because then they say, I just need to twist, twist her a bit more, twist her arm back, I just need to put a little bit more pressure. So they go and call this person that is your mentor, they go and call that person that sponsored you, they go and so just putting pressure and pressure and pressure on you. So you must stop apologizing. Do not apologize for your decision that that is negative. All right, because you do not apologize for your decision that is positive. And finally, when you do make it, remember to pull back all those people. Be gracious about it. They are coming back. They are happy to come back to see you. They are happy to be linked with you. They are happy to be associated with you. You must be gracious. You must be gracious enough to receive them back, and remember that it is because they also wanted to better themselves. So now that you are in a position to make life better for them, please receive them back and assist as much as you can, without jeopardizing your business. Thank you very much indeed, and God bless you. I hope I have, with these few points of mine, convinced that this is yeah, saying no is a virtue, and that it is a major virtue and business strategy you must arm yourself with as an entrepreneur or a business owner. Thank you. God bless you.
Wow, thank you so much, Reverend Mavi Sibo. Saying no is a virtue, not just a virtue, but a major business strategy. Interesting. So we need to say no to things that will sap our energy and not give us enough reward. We need to say no to clients that will take us away from our vision and our business models. We need to say no when talent is not enough. There are several instances where we need to say no. And I hope we'll have the grace to identify the right instance to say no, and to say no with conviction. All right, so right about now, we'll be bringing all our speakers back for a panel session to be answering some of our questions. But before then, I'll just take some comments, which will also just serve as a way of recap for what we've been learning over the last couple of days. So Dr. Louisa said civility is a mindset, a muscle that cannot be tough, yet it can be developed. And it requires daily exercise to strengthen and expand. Thank you very much, Dr. Louisa, for that. You also told us that civility gives us return on investment, so to speak, such as returning clients, responsibility, repositioning, respect, etc., etc. Diane told us that we need the loyal customer base to grow our business, and that we need to persevere because many people fail the first time. So we need to have that in mind. Reverend Mavi Sibo says we need to say no to businesses that can reduce our morale and our creativity, and learn to say no to demands that can compromise your values. Papi told us yesterday that relationships are key to sustaining businesses, and that you need to unlearn certain negative mindsets and learn new ones. And Mr. Olumide Dare, who will be joining us shortly, also told us that humility is the attitude that takes you to the peak in business and in your organization. So thank you very much to all our speakers. We have a few questions that we will take right about now, just before we round off. And I think I'll start with Reverend Mavi. Now, you told us to learn to say no. Saying no is a virtue. But I think sometimes there's a thin line to, if so in terms of negotiation, you want to get a business deal, the pricing is just not right. How do you know when to draw the line? How do you know when it's your best deal, so that you don't just lose off on a transaction because you don't want to go below a certain benchmark? How do you manage that balance, especially when nothing else is coming in? It's not like you have an alternative per se.
That's true. I know that at some times you're under severe pressure to accept anything, but you must also look at the whole scenario and look at the brand. That's the reason we establish solutions. They have all these set out properly in their guidelines and in their strategy, so that staff cannot go outside of it, no matter how much pressure they put on you, to market their and everything. There's a level you cannot, but because if you go below that level, you'll be undercutting the organization, not only in price but also in the brand. And listen to me, if you go into a price war as a budding, a fledgling business, you will always cut your nose to spite your face. If you accept if you accept substandard, or if you accept a lower value than your normal value, then you will always get something that even gives you less than what you valued yourself in the first place. So it's always better to define your level, define your values, and stick to it. Because at the end of the day, it will help the people, the other clients that are coming, to realize that this is the where below this you are not going. Okay, below this you will not deal. It's always better. I know that many times there's pressure to sell, there's pressure to deal, but don't deal at all costs. The end doesn't always justify the means.
Okay, so basically you need to define those levels from the onset, basically,
yes.
And then stick to it. So what if you're not in a monopoly or an oligopoly situation, but it's a very competitive market, and you feel your pricing, it's perceived that your pricing is a bit above that of competitors. Do you still stick to it?
Okay, I think one of the speakers just told us about Apple telephone and everything. Everybody is using. I mean, that's a very competitive market, very competitive. But Apple is, they created the niche for them, and so even their salespeople, everyone, they know that they cannot go below a certain level. Okay, so and customers and clients know that they need to be able to pay that amount in order to get the value. Look at it right now, even during COVID, there are a lot of universities that are saying the value we are giving is still the same. So though we are teaching online, all our classes are virtual, we are still incurring the same expense, because the value and the quality of our lectures is still the same. So they have not reduced school fees. School fees are still the same. Tuition fee is still the same. If it was 1,000 naira before, it's still 1,000 naira. Whether you're doing it virtual or you are in the classroom, despite the fact that they are not incurring any fixed asset overheads.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much for that clarification. And there's a question which kind of aligns with what MSI just spoke about. Now, Diane, you talked about perseverance in your presentation, and that it's really usually not good to quit, because you make mistakes and you have to keep improving and learning from your mistakes. However, there should be a time when you realize that it's just not working. So how do you identify that point where you need to change strategy and then move on to something new? Or do we just keep on pursuing old strategy, just stay resilient and just continue to pursue it until it works? What do you think? Is there a time where you actually say, okay,
I said that I'm not sure you read it very well. Could you repeat, please? There is an echo where I am. Can you repeat, please?
Okay, so talking about perseverance, at what point, as a business person, at what point do you decide that your strategy is not just working and you need to change strategies? Do you need to continue pursuing an old strategy, or is there a time where you have to come back and evaluate and say, this is not working, let me try something else?
Okay, I said on one of my slides that during the time that you are waiting to get success, we need to work on our product or service, or also on our strategy. So when you have a business and you are selling a product or a service, but you haven't sold your product and service for a while, or when you sell it and you couldn't retain a client, it means that something wrong. So you have to go on to see what's going on. It means you have to know your target, okay, to identify their buying behavior, their preferred channel, the budget. It could be maybe your product is so expensive. It could be because the channel that you use not a good one. Maybe they prefer online thing, or maybe they need to get your product on a shop or supermarket, whatever. So you need to know the expectation also in terms of customer relation. It could be the customer relation which is not good. So I said that we need to reach out our customer to know what's wrong with them, what's wrong with our product. We need also to see what our competitors are doing also. Maybe we are selling a very old product, they need innovation, So I definitely think that when you are selling a product or you are selling a service and you couldn't solve it, or you cannot retain your client, it means that you have to change your way of doing with your strategy. Okay. So this is my response. Is there any question?
Yeah. No, that's fine.
So
That's fine.
how do you know when it's time to quit Okay.
That's fine.
And you know what? And as Jeff Bezos say, be stubborn on your vision, but flexible on detail. So all the things that detail that I said, I told you is not, you are not changing your vision. You are just changing the detail, trying to adjust it to your target, to your customer, what they desire. That's it.
All right, thank you very much. So vision is key. Be stubborn on the vision, but flexible on the detail. That's really interesting, And I got something. So you don't operate as a business person. You don't operate in the silos. You have to actually reach out and be sensitive to the needs of your customers' perception. Don't just force your product down their throats, and be sensitive to the competing environment as well. All right, thank you very much for that, Diane. Mr. Papi, would you want to add something to what MSI or Diane have said? Please unmute your mic. Unmute your mic, sir.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much. I just wanted to add on what MSI was saying. Yesterday, I recommended a book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. If you go to Habit 4 talks about think win-win. And then what Covey is teaching us there is that when you start to negotiate a deal, think from a win-win perspective. That means your mentality must be win-win. Because if you don't do that, there's going to be what we call a win-lose. It's either I'm going to lose or the other person is going to lose. And then once that happens, the relationships start getting difficult. And then thirdly, he mentions that if you don't negotiate value and service correctly, you both going to end up on what we call a lose-lose streak. So that means I feel that I provided the service and I lost, and the customer feels that, you know what, my money I thought that I was bringing, but I lost. But what he says, and this is what MSI is trying to say, if you get into those situations where you are uncomfortable with the deal, you need to rather go into what we call no deal. So that means I don't do a deal. As a customer, you have not lost, and me as a service provider, I've not lost. But what we call it like we take a cool off. We go think about it and we come back. And that's why Stephen Covey wrote a second book called The Third Alternative. And the third alternative I will highly recommend, because third alternative always talks to disputes, talks to unsurety. And you always say, I might have my stance, you might have your stance. But what he's saying is that we should always, at all times, explore the third alternative. It's a book as well. He's written it out of the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I'm just going to put it there. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, sir. So you just added to our repertoire of books. So yesterday you recommended The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. You also recommended Start With Why by Simon Sinek, The Requisite Organization by Jackie Elliott, and now The Third Alternative by Stephen Covey. And MSI earlier recommended When Talent Is Not Enough. So please let's look out for these books, and they will definitely help us. Thank you so much. Okay, so before I let you go, Mr. Papi, I just want to bring out something from what you said yesterday. So we talked about when you have a weakness, probably in terms of relationship building and all that, and your response was you need to understand your shortcomings and surround yourself with the right people. However, there's also this concept of being able to leave your comfort zone for you to achieve what you want to achieve. And Diane alluded to that when she said a business leader is meant to be a conductor and meant to be hands-on in every aspect of the organization. So at what point do you decide that, you need to actually go down and develop strength in the areas of your weakness as against just surrounding yourself with the right people?
Thank you very much. I think firstly, start with knowing yourself. A lot of people, they take personal development as like not important. And personal development, it is key to be able to say, when I do personal development, there are lots of strategies out there. We have what we call personality traits that we need to develop. We have different what we call personality testing that we do. We have EQ models. We have all that. And then if we can go there, if you do any of those things, any of those tests in an inverted commas, they're not tests, but they're just way of knowing myself. They add a lot of value in terms of making sure that you know who you are, not what people say you are, but who you are. I know that I have these strengths, these weaknesses, and then when I look at myself, there are certain things I need to develop. So what I would encourage, especially for entrepreneurs, make sure that you get to the internet, you get to specialists, use any tool. There's HPDI that you can use. There is EQ models that you can use. There are so many models. Because what they do, once they define who you are, I can be able to say, wow, I'm a very good speaker, but now I'm in business. But am I a good accountant? I am not. And numbers are not my things. My invoices are always behind. So I need to surround myself with a good accountant to make sure that my finances are okay. And then when I look on the other side, yes, I'm a good entrepreneur, but am I a good marketer? You might find that I miss certain things when I market myself. So why don't I surround myself with a good marketer who understands the field and who are able to do it. So you do that in all the aspects. And where you know that you are good, that's where you focus on. And that's why I always say to entrepreneurs, you cannot be a master of everything. You just need to just say, I know myself, and how do I bring people around me? And it always brings me back to the point of saying, know yourself. And it comes back to personal development. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. So knowing yourself is key. Know yourself, know your business, know your vision, understand your purpose, and that's really like the foundation in decision making. At least that's the common theme that's been going around from all the speakers since yesterday. Thank you very much. So, Dr. Louisa, there's a question for you. Now, it's one thing for me to say, okay, I understand the concept of civility and I want to practice it daily, but how do I institutionalize it? So in my organization and with my employees, so everybody knows that, okay, this is the culture and they actually practice it.
Thank you so much for that question. That's a good question. First of all, as an organization, so I'm going to give you two parts to this question, or answer it in two parts. So the first one will be for organizations, and the second part would be for entrepreneurs, because that's who we have on the show today. So for an organization, what you need to do is to evaluate the company's mission, their values, or their their vision, and make sure that you set the tone and allow the applicants, so all the way from when you're hiring, people should understand that this is what this organization stands for. How does the organization behave or work? And I think that at that point, it will kind of determine whether the employees want to stay or they want to leave. So everything must be ingrained in the policy. The management will always have to set the tone. The policy needs to be in place that this is a civil environment where people must be treated with respect. That has to be in place. And then, of course, when the management does that, how does the management implement this? Then they're able to accept trainings for their employees. And the other part is for the entrepreneurs who are on the show. An entrepreneur, every entrepreneur I want to believe that you do have a vision and mission statement or value statement for yourself. And so you must set that in tone, that tone must be set within your mission or vision statement. It must be there. And you have to take it a step further to do some kind of self-assessment or evaluation for yourself, self-audit, assess what your goals are, and ask yourself a question. Have I really met my goals? And if you haven't met your goals, what are the problems? Because we always know the truth, just sometimes we run away from the truth. What skills do you need? And then, of course, go ahead to hire a coach, go ahead to register for a class or a training. There's so many programs out there for entrepreneurs, in the area of civility. I hope that helped.
Okay, so really it's an investment. You have to, to really be willing to invest in it, becoming a culture. So it's not just to say it, but to actually practice it and make it a culture. You have to do the extra and invest in it. All right, thank you very much for that. There's another question for MSI. It says, must our no be verbal always? Or is it possible for us to say no by our actions, gesture, or body language? Okay, you need to unmute your mic, please. Please unmute your mic, Ma.
Okay, yes. I can hear you now, yes.
Okay, so the question to you is that must our no be verbal always?
I can hear you.
Or is it possible to say, okay, Margaret is asking if our no must always be verbal, or it's possible to say no with our actions or body language?
Okay, yeah, your non-verbal communication is actually a very strong one, and it speaks louder than what you say. But when you have to say no in the situations that I have enumerated, then you have to be definite about it and verbalize it. When you say no non-verbally by your actions, by your behavior, it can be interpreted or read in a different, it depends on where I am. It depends on where the person you're trying to say no to, where he's operating from. There are some people that they never in their minds they don't take no for an answer, and so they will misinterpret your gestures. They will misinterpret your behavior. So it is important to be definite about your no. Say it firmly but politely. Verbalize it.
So it must be verbalized. You must verbalize your no and corroborate it with your actions. Thank you for that, ma'am. Okay, we have another question here from Ruth Douglas. She's asking, how do you manage a relationship that you have with a disgruntled client whom, after you have said no, decides to retract an ongoing business deal you have with his organization? Olumide, do you want to take that?
Yes, I think that's pretty easy. For entrepreneurs and business owners and managers, one shouldn't go into any business relationship without legally binding agreements. And I mean, the reason why we're here is there are some things.
Yes.
Okay, I'll start again. Can you all hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, so I'll start again. I said as entrepreneurs and business owners, one shouldn't go into any business relationship without legally binding agreements. And the reason why we're here is, there are some things that you may not learn in business school. One of those is you must know all or most of the scenarios that will come out of your business relationship with an organization. So if you can preempt all those, you ensure that your contractual agreement with this organization for which you are providing a service or who is providing you a service, all these scenarios are well printed in black and white on your agreement with this organization. When you do that, it's difficult for any organization or any individual to renege on a contractual obligation which you have earlier entered into. So yes, the answer to that question is ensure every contractual obligation you enter into is legally binding with responsibilities to all parties. You know yourself always in a business relationship, you never ever are able to know 100% the other party. And what just solves that, the gap in that equation is the legal aspects of your contractual engagement. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. And that's really critical, especially for small entrepreneurs, budding entrepreneurs. Most times we take the legal aspect of business for granted, but it's very fundamental to business success. Thank you very much for that. Thank you very much to all our speakers. We have just about 1 minute to round off now, so we'll just take closing remarks in like 30 seconds, last words, starting with Mr. Papi. Mr. Papi.
Thank you very much. House of Praise. I want to comment about unicorns. I was doing research last night. In the world, we have only 300 unicorns. And unicorns basically is a startup company that is built up to $1 billion. So in the world, we got 300. And I did research to check how many unicorns we have in Africa. We have only 3 unicorns. And which of course, one of the unicorns is in Nigeria. Well done. And 2 of those unicorns are in South Africa. So to the entrepreneurs that are listening, obviously, I just want to say Jumia. Jumia is one of the unicorns based in Nigeria. Obviously, in South Africa, we have Promasada and CLC. And now this shows us that out of 300 unicorns in the world, Africa accounts for 3. And we have 297 out there. Obviously now the US was the leader before, but was overtaken by China. So I'm sharing this information to all the entrepreneurs to say, there are people out there who were able to build a 1 billion plus company from scratch. I'm not talking about companies that are being conglomerates and this. I'm just talking about an entrepreneur starting a company and then making $1 billion. And then Africa, the richest continent, I can argue, it's got only 3. And it is food for thought for all those who are listening today, that why, with such passion, with such knowledge, with lots of universities and I can go on and on, we account for only 3 unicorns. And I would like to just, again say House of Praise, I think it's a challenge that we must all put to our now entrepreneurs to say, for you to be a unicorn, you don't need any special talent. You just need to understand what the speakers have spoken about. Know your basics from the business school. Then there are other drivers that you must learn from other people. Surround yourself with the right people. Understand the concept. Because with COVID-19, there will be companies that are going to die. But there will be companies that are going to emerge. New companies are going to come out of this. And I hope that one of those companies that come out of this will be one of the unicorns that we are waiting for. South Africa, as much as we are, we only account for 2. And Nigeria, you account for 1. And now, all entire Africa, no one is guarded. So I'd just like to encourage, with those encouraging words, to say, when I did this research, it was really an eye-opener for me. And I'm an entrepreneur as well, but I am trying. But I think there are other brilliant minds out there. Please let us aim for your companies to become unicorns. Thank you very much, and thank you for House of Praise for inviting me. Thanks.
Thank you so much, sir. Diane, your closing remark. Diane, can you hear me? Okay, Olumide, could you just wrap up with your closing remark?
Thank you. Yesterday I spoke about the right attitude, but today my closing remark is going to actually be about negotiation. Building on Papi's, speech about negotiation, and then the third option. In every negotiation, we must always recognize where we stand. There are 3 scenarios in every negotiation. One is a win-win scenario. Second is a lose-lose scenario, where you both know that, okay, this deal we shouldn't do this deal. And then the third, which we want to avoid, is a win-lose scenario, where one party wins and the other party loses. That damages relationship. Where such a negotiation occurs, relationship is broken. And we want sustainability in every business that we do. So the fact that you win, a negotiation today does not guarantee you sustainability. In every negotiation, we should focus on the win-win for each party, which is what ultimately guarantees sustainability. And the way to achieve this most times is to recognize the fact that each party in a negotiation must be willing to shift. In a negotiation where there is almost a breakdown, you know that there's a gap. There's a portion, there's an amount, either in terms of works, in terms of labor, or in terms of money that, each party is willing to let go of. The best way to always close this as a win-win is for each party to be willing to shift. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So be willing to shift to achieve a win-win. Dr. Louisa, can you just give us your closing remarks?
Yes, absolutely. But someone just dropped a comment. Ambassador Enoch Praise said, there are entrepreneurs that has not attended a business school, but trust me, their business is top-notch and growing daily. I will say, find out what your spot is and write on it. Thank you so much, Ambassador Enoch. So for me, I want to say thank you to everyone who has been here at this point. And I just want to finish up by saying that make sure that you work out your civility muscle every single day. The same way you go to the gym, walk it out every day. It's going to help you maintain calm and knock out fear during this period so that we can focus together to build a respectful society for yourself and for everyone. Thank you
so much. The essence of working out your civility muscle cannot be overemphasized. Thanks again for that, Dr. Louisa. And Diane, can you just round off in a sentence for us with your closing remark?
Okay, thank you. What I want to say is that as an entrepreneur, we have to know our strengths, our weaknesses, and have a good analysis of the market. So we have to work, even we are successful, we have to work non-stop on our weaknesses. This is very important. So we have to work on our weaknesses. We have to stick on our vision and work hard. We have to be more focused on our product than on our concurrents. So this is what I want to say. More focus on our product, our services, how to improve it than our concurrents. It's that way that we can be successful in what we are doing. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Be tenacious, know your vision, stick to it, and keep at it. And at this point, I would like to hand over to the convener of this session, Reverend Mavi Isibo, popularly known as MSI, to close the event, formally close the event and express our gratitude to our speakers and attendees.
Thank you. I would just like to say, as my own closing of the whole thing is, let today mark a new beginning for you. Give yourself permission to say no without feeling mean or without feeling selfish. Anybody who gets upset or expects you to say yes all the time clearly doesn't have your best interests at heart. Always remember, you have a right to say no without having to explain yourself. So be at peace with yourself and with your decisions. Always remember that the most important thing is setting up the business, because once the business is set up, I can assure you that all the friends you lost will come back. All right. Thank you so much indeed. I really want to appreciate all the speakers. You people have been fantastic, electrifying, insightful, in-depth presentations. Thank you. Thank you so much. We started with Olumide. He said the ball rolling, and it was an eye-opener. And then Papi came in and he did a fantastic job. That's yesterday. We have so many beautiful comments. And then, of course, thank you also, Dan. Thank you, Louisa. Oh, yes. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. And thank you, our able coordinator and compare. Thank you so much indeed for Christabel for putting and helping this program to the flow, the smoothness and everything. I just want to appreciate you. And above all, I want to appreciate all the audience, everyone that is watching on YouTube, Facebook, on watch parties everywhere. Thank you so much indeed. Let your questions come in some more. And I want to assure you that for all those that are registered online, that are registered with us, you will get all the presentations by tomorrow or latest by Monday. All right. Thank you so much indeed. Have a very blessed weekend. And please stay safe out there all over the world. COVID is not a respecter of persons. Stay safe, keep your distance, social distancing, and wear your face mask always. Thank you. Bye, everybody. Have a good night rest and have a pleasant weekend.
Bye-bye, MSI. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Bye,
Bye, everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Okay, then. Bye, everyone. Bye. Everyone is created special, unique. There's only one you, and God has never ever created a nobody, because He has deposited something inside of you that is different, that is unique, that is all yours. In House of Praise, you find expression to display that uniqueness, that special thing that God has deposited in you. This is a place where you display your talent. This is a place where you display your expertise, and you express yourself in service and worship and praise to God our Father. House of Praise is a place of deliverance, of salvation, and cleansing.